farmer. Mountain back to Atlantic Ocean. Upon me hills to book country. To educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah. Focus on Liberia. For Liberia, Liberia. For Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday. It's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs. Hey. In diaspora. Current affairs. Reliable information. History. Ooh. Talking about culture. Politics. Education. Entertainment. Business. Sports. Advertisement. Articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Anthony Sie. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to the Hour of Politics here at Focus on Liberia. We are having a very special edition of the Hour of Politics here at Focus on Liberia. And we want to encourage you to join this broadcast. This is going to be informative. The budget of any government tells its people what the government intends to do for its people and the country. The budget shows the priority of any government. If the government means well, one of the ways we tell is by looking at the budget. Because, manners, the budget becomes difficult for the government to deliver services and run the country. So the budget is that tool that any government uses and its people also look at to tell whether or not the government actually means well for the country and its people. The budget is also that tool the president relies on to fulfill promises and programs and their agenda. Joining me today in today's edition of the Hour of Politics is my good friend, Pastor Esti Salif. Good morning and welcome to Focus on Liberia. This is the Hour of Politics.
Thank you, Mr. Sie. It's good to be here, and everybody who's joining the broadcast this morning from wherever you are this morning or afternoon or evening, welcome to the show.
So our topic for today couldn't be so unique. The 2024 rescue budget and the arrest agenda. So we'll be looking at some numbers in the budget, and we will try to see whether or not these numbers align with the rescue government arrest agenda, because it is the agenda of the government that is the government's plan to improving the human and material condition of our people. That is what the government relies on. So we will be looking at the budget. The budget must support the agenda of the government because the government believes that its agenda will rescue. Don't forget that. This is a rescue mission. That its agenda is a plan to rescue our people. That plan must be backed by the budget. It must align with the budget, or the budget must align with it in order for them to be successful. Is that the case with this first rescue budget that we have? And again, please do us that favor and share the broadcast. If you want to know the numbers, we have the numbers for you, and we'll break them down. And my comrade here, Mr. Salih, who is a sustainable development coach, this is his area. You know, when we're talking development, we're talking about improving the materials and human condition of people, planning and all that. That is his area. He's here to help me to break down these numbers, to see whether these numbers actually align with the arrest agenda. And so I cannot welcome you enough, my good friend. And to folks in cyberspace, please do not hesitate to share this particular broadcast. So what we're going to do, first of all, I'm going to read out some numbers to you, and I'm going to bring my colleague in, and he will do some reading of the numbers whenever he sees that necessary. So what is in the budget for our people? So first of all, the National Security Agency, that is the NSA, its budget is, first of all, in the original budget, it was 9.4 million. When they recast the budget, they increased it from 9.4 million to $11 million. Now, then we have the EPS, that is the Executive Protection Service, that is responsible to provide security for the president, the vice president, and other dignitaries in usually foreign guests of the Liberian government. In the original budget, it was 8.3 million. Now in the recast budget, they increase it to $9.6 million. Now, National Disaster Management budget initially was 1.5 million. But when they recast the budget, they reduced it from 9.5 million to 700,000. Now, Pastor Salih, let us not throw too many numbers out there. The National Disaster Management Agency, what is it responsible for? What are the needs or the emergency or disaster, or what are some of the disaster it must respond to when they happen, for which the government saw it wise to have budgeted 1.5 and now reduce it to 700?
In the first place, when we talk about national disasters, there are things we're looking at, and some of them already started happening. We see the rain. Liberia is on record. Monrovia, as the capital, is on record as the wettest capital city in the world. So the amplitude of rain, yes, is very high. So there's so much rain, and flooding has been taking place, and that's part of the disaster. And other natural man-made disasters, things that will happen. And even with the flooding going on, I don't even see the assistance that government has been giving to the people. But when we talk about national disaster management, this should be a priority. So you can tell where the heart of the administration is. The budget of the let me start with the arrest agenda. That arrest is the pillar on which the government is supposed to stand to work. So people say, okay, this is the roadmap, this is where we're going. And we know that the acronym arrest stands for his agriculture, roads, rule of law, education, sanitation, and tourism. That's where it is. So when we match the budget with the arrest agenda, we can know that the administration is deceptive, because where they throw the money is where the government heart is. Because when you read the budget of any country, any administration, watch the numbers. Where the higher number goes is where the heart of the government is. So even this administration heart is not even in their own arrest agenda. They completely threw that to the curb. So national disaster, that should be a priority. But you're reducing that and you increasing places that need not to be increased. It tells you that the administration's heart is in the wrong place. They're not working for the people. They're working for themselves. That's what the budget tells us.
Yeah. So let's bring the numbers for the key areas within the arrest agenda. The tourism. They set aside 120,000.
That's a joke.
That is the last pillar of the acronym or arrest or the government, right? So the last time I checked, I was reading the report the other day on the US. The US, according to the report, says that about 90 million people are expected to visit the United States just to visit.
Mm-hmm.
And of that 90 million people that, projected to visit the United States, the US government is on track of raising 129 billion. Now that's America. Somebody may say, whoa, you can't compare America and Liberia. Now look at Ghana. Ghana is raising billions in tourism. How unique is Ghana compared to Liberia when we are talking about tourism? You were talking about water earlier. Look at Monrovia. Water is all around the place. We got the Atlantic. We got the lakes that we have alone, the rivers that we have, the national parks that we have, the historical sites that we have. And this is a government now that set aside just 120,000 for tourism, and tourism is part of the arrest agenda. Talk to me, Pastor Salif. How does it align with this pillar of tourism that you're talking about, the 120,000?
The thing is, I hate when I'm discussing Liberia to even compare it to America, because then people kind of relax. But let's use Ghana, let's use Jamaica, let's use other countries. 2024, Jamaica is projecting $4 billion from tourism. Ghana is $3-point-something billion. In fact, this year they have projected that their a year of the return, they're expecting to boast more than $3 billion from tourism. And so the government's heart is not in tourism. When you put in 120,000, okay, what is that supposed to do? To pay the rent of the office or the tourism? Or what is $120,000 going to do? So the government's heart is not in that, because this administration is not thinking about eternal revenue generation, because if they are thinking about that, they will put the resources in the places where we can eternally generate revenue to support the budget. That is more sustainable than going around traveling all over the place. Just in 9 months, how many trips has this president made? What has come back to the country? So you want to go out and be begging other people for money when you can generate money in your own country just from tourism. And that's why I've been calling for the Ministry of Information, Culture, and Tourism should be broken up, because when they say Ministry of Information, it's just a government arm for their own messaging out there. So it's the mouthpiece of the government. Whether they're doing bad or not, the information ministry is always supposed to present the government. So that is completely political. So it has nothing to be done with it. You cannot marry that with culture and tourism. Those should be three separate entities. Information should be different. Culture should be different. Tourism should be different. And we can generate a lot of money from that. That would be more sustainable. But the budget tells us that the government is not even interested in the last letter in the arrest agenda, which is tourism. They're not even interested in it. To throw just $120,000 at that, why are you increasing? Because where the government corrupt is in all these security agencies, NSA, EPS, you throw in millions of dollars that we cannot account for, because you don't have to explain to the country what all you know is about national security. So you don't have to explain that. And so you're wasting money there. Who is after Liberia? Who is after Joseph Boakar's life? Who is after Jeremiah Combs' life? That we have to spend millions of dollars on that. What kind of job? I mean, you've not got to that number yet. I don't want to get too much ahead of you. Is the national legislature doing for Liberia that they are increasing their money to 57 million? I mean, it makes no sense. It tells you these people came to serve themselves. They did not come to rescue. And this is not sustainable.
And definitely, I'm glad that you brought the issue of the legislature, because that's the yardstick we use to see how intentional this government is in improving the human condition of our people and also developing the country. If you have a legislature, initially you budgeted 53 million for the legislature. That was way too much in the first place. And then you
Very
recap
much.
the budget, and then you raise it all the way to $57 million. Now, if you compare that with agriculture, for example, now you get to realize that the arrest agenda, this is the amount that they have for agriculture. And the budget call for agriculture is 401. Ministry of Agriculture, initially the budget, a pitiful $5.7 million.
Yep.
And they reduce it to 3.7 million. So they cut 2 million from the agriculture budget. So agriculture is supposed to cover the whole country. Now you have a legislature that is enjoying a $57 million budget, while agriculture get $2 million cut and left with 3.7. So talk to me. How do you improve? Does it actually align with the arrest agenda? Because agriculture is the first letter
in the arrest agenda.
Joseph Boakar actually wants to be seen as the agricultural president of Liberia. He been honest in agriculture because we're at PNC before. But look at his budget. My question is, why is the money for agriculture this low? And the legislative money is so high. Any logical reason why?
Because agriculture is not his priority, and it's highly disappointing. This man was one-time managing director for LPMC. And, sustainable development, we have to find a way to empower our own people, the local people, create local content. And I will take you back. I will answer this question by taking you back to the same thing Ellen did, okay? When Ellen became president, her first term, she brought RLJ to Liberia, right? Multi-millionaire black investor in America. Brought him, and I was weeping. I'm like, okay, this was a good opportunity for a post-war president that just coming, you want to empower your people so that we don't go back to the dark past. I said, if I were president in Ellen capacity and brought RLJ to Liberia, it was not going to build hotel, because the hotel they built at RLJ, that now whatever name, rooted the Kennedy Cultural Center and planted RLJ, ordinary Liberians could not sleep in that hotel. I think the least room there was from $200, $250 up, okay, up to $500 or more. How many Liberians work in RLJ? How many Liberians could sleep in RLJ? Nobody. So if they were serious, they would have brought RLJ, created some programs, even bring factories to process juice, to do things, and even say, well, okay, let's just produce pineapple juice. You know how many people would have gone to make pineapple farms? Because they will have the market there, and you're empowering everybody. So these people have never been in the right place. And JMB was part of that administration, 12 years as VP. Now he has the opportunity to be at the helm of affairs. And then agriculture is your very first letter in your arrest agenda. We thought you would prioritize that, so that when you go into agriculture, then definitely the next letter, which is roads, because those two got to work together. You put money into agriculture and then put money into roads to build farm to market roads, so that people, when I was back in Nigeria, I used to travel back to Liberia for vacation all the time, and I would travel by road. And one day, it really broke my heart. That day was market day in Saniquale. And coming all the way from Locatua border, I saw villagers They had harvested their crops and they were beside the road. They did not have car to take them to Saniquele from morning till evening. I passed there, I spoke with them. No car. So how do you empower agriculture? The people don't even have roads. There's no farm to market road, all these things. That's where the priority should be, and not spending the money on all these other things. Liberians are not lazy. Liberians just don't have the assistance, they don't have the means, they don't have the empowerment. And this budget tells us JMB heart is not in agriculture. If his heart was there, agriculture money will not be reduced. It will be increased to be able to boost local agriculture instead of importing everything into the country. So it's not sustainable. Importation is not sustainable.
And because you talk about road, let me bring you another figure from the budget that we also got, and that is on infrastructure and business services. So that budget code is budget code number 10, infrastructure and business services. They have 54 million initially budgeted. The figure in the parenthesis is the cut. That's the amount they took away. Initially, they have $54 million budgeted, and they cut from a 4.6 million. You see that?
Yes.
So that's what they did. So now you have 54 million, which is less than what you have for your legislature. So you're talking about infrastructural development. This is what we need. The road from RRA to Monrovia, they're still working on that road. I was there 5 months ago.
It should have been
The
finished.
reason the project is yet to be completed is because no money.
Yes.
Now you have the legislature getting more money in the budget than infrastructure development in the country. And I know when the Unity Party is talking about infrastructure development, there's nothing more than roads, just what I would say. So they have very less money in the budget to construct roads in Liberia, even compared to what they give in the legislature. So you have a point there. So agriculture and roads, they kind of intertwine, they go hand in hand, because people got to move their produce or their products to the markets so that they can be able to make money and continue to produce.
Yeah, road contribute to sustainable development because if you don't have access roads, how do you move goods and services throughout the country? It's going to be hard. I mean, there's a young lady who's into poultry. I think her poultry is in the bombing belt, and she has to go all the way to Africa to bring in their old chicks. Before those chicks travel by the road from Africa to the bombing area, most of them die on their way from stress. The road is terrible. The roads are deplorable. So I don't know how you can boost your economy without access roads, without road network. It's not possible. The question is, up to now, nobody has been held accountable for tampering with the first budget before we came to the recast budget. And now this budget tells us exactly, I mean, forensic, if you decide to do some forensic analysis, you can trace exactly where the fingering of this budget came from. When you look at the cuts and the increases, then you know the people who did that. The legislature involving the Senate and the House and the executive, they all have part. That's why today they can't find anybody to blame. They can't find whoever was culpable for tampering with the budget, because they themselves did it, because they saw the legislature saw, oh, this money for us is low, we want to increase it. And they look at the kind of foolishness the budget shows. It shows no sign of seriousness in the administration, and nobody has been held accountable for tampering with the budget, because what they have done to the budget was to serve themselves. This budget, the voice of the budget, shows that the administration is self-serving. These people are not there to serve Liberia. And when you come from a place, all the world over, other administrations that take over other countries, when they come and meet a deplorable economic situation, they don't increase budget. They go there and cut down things. But even as they are downsizing and removing ghost names and from all ministries and agencies, the wage bill is still going higher. So then the question is how? How are we letting people go and then we're still not reducing the wage bill? Because they still find another way to increase and self-serve themselves. So it's this is unacceptable.
That is correct. There are some people they have let go, and
Yeah.
one would think that the wage bill will decrease, but then
Yes.
the B shots are increasing their perks, their allowances, their budget and all that. They are increasing those, and so that is why, even though there are people being taken off the payroll, that should lead to a reduction in the amount of money set aside for payroll. All right, but the budget is still high.
It's still high because there's so much wastage
Mhm.
in the government. I mean, why? And I'm still asking myself, a country like Liberia, 2024, other countries, okay, you give somebody an office, he has a landline. Why government still have to pay for scratch card for people's phones? Are they not taking salary? The people that voted there in office, who gave them money for scratch cards for their phone? Why are we still giving government official gas coupon, gas slips? The people who elected them in office, who gave them gas slip? You make how many thousands of dollars you making? You can put gas in your own car. The government, I mean, so much wastage is going on. You're putting phone credit in people's phone. You're putting even gas in their generator in their houses. Which administration does that? And you came for rescue. Those are the things you're supposed to cut off and channel that money into agriculture, channel that money into education. You're talking about agriculture. You've not even gone to education yet. This administration does not even prioritize education. When a administration does not prioritize education, what that administration is telling you is, we don't care about the future, because education is about the future. So if you're not investing in education, if you're not investing in agriculture, if you're not investing in infrastructural development, then how sustainable is your development?
Talking about education, let's bring some numbers that the guy in the budget for the education. We will not be able to cover all the educational institutions, but we'll show very few. So first of all, let's look at the Ministry of Education's budget. The Ministry of Education budget, the budget code is 301. Initially, they budgeted $48 million, and then they reduced it to 47. So they called the figure in parentheses is they call it austerity measure. So they took out 913,000 out of there. So that's education. Their budget there is 47 now. Then we have the University of Liberia. Initially, they budgeted $33.4 million for the University of Liberia. And now they cut 1 million out of it and reduced it to 32.4 million. That it is the University of Liberia. So the University of Liberia budget has been reduced by 1 million, while the legislative budget has increased by over 2 million, while the presidential affairs budget has increased by over 2 million, while the NSA budget has increased by 2 million. So they are increasing theirs and are reducing those ones that are supposed to improve the human and material conditions of the people. Now you talk about higher education also, my dear brother. National Commission on Higher Education, initially they budgeted $1 million. Then they cut 500,000. They cut half of it from there. So now the Commission on Higher Education budget now is $530,000. So talking about education, and I look at the community colleges. If you look at BOM, Lofa Community College, Nimba Community College, those three are listed. They are around 1.5 million each. Then when you go to the southeastern part of the country, the community colleges are there. The budget for them that 600,000. 600,000. River G Community College is 364,000. All right. So my question when it comes to the community colleges, before we come to the entire education, right? After all the community colleges have the same status, are they not treated equally? Because if you look at Lofa Community College, they have 1.5, Nimba 1.5. You come to BOM 1.5. Now, when you come to River Cess, you got 600,000. You come to like Grand Crew, you got around 605,000. And then when you come to River G, you get 300. What are the numbers the disparity is so huge. Why are they none of the same status as community colleges?
Yeah, I mean, even if they are the same status, my dear brother, watch this.
Mhm.
Even if there's disparity in the number,
Mhm.
those community colleges that are further away from Monrovia supposed to be given higher budget. The reason is the living in those places, getting instructors in those places is harder. That's why they should even be paid more to attract more qualified instructors. Nobody wants to leave Monrovia to go to River G to teach in the community college or River Cess to teach in the community college. So how do you attract them? You attract them by giving them better incentive. That's why their budget should even be higher, because that's the only way you can move qualified people from Monrovia to go work in those places. Nobody going to leave Monrovia to go to River Cess or River G, where there are no proper amenities, there are no proper school for their children to go to, no proper health care, nothing. You wouldn't want to go. But when you think about the salary, definitely you will want to go. When you think about the facilities that are there, you will want to go. But then those struggling places, we're not even helping them. So we are killing it even more. And that tells us something is wrong with Liberian administration. And I said on this network before, Liberia successfully has become an opposition country. Opposition in Liberia is very successful. When you're not in power, you know all the right things to say, you know how to say them, you know when to say them, you know how to agitate, how to move things. Once you are given the power, then you don't even know what to do. So we spend so much time opposing that we don't know how to lead, that we don't know how to govern, because these are things that JMB and the people who elected him complain about where. So how do you come only 9 months? You're already becoming worse than the Weah's administration in 9 months. You've not changed anything. It's even getting worse. And that leaves me with no confidence in the next 5 years, because if the first 9 months look like this, what will 5 years down the road going to look like? Because listen, every year this budget is going to increase. It's not going to decrease. And there's no year that the legislature will decrease their money. JMB is supposed to come in and say, listen, we're here to rescue. We got to put resources in the right places. We're cutting down legislature budget. We're cutting down EPS. We're cutting down the executive. We're cutting down this to put this thing where the people are, where the ordinary people are, to improve the lot of the people, to improve the living standard, the condition of our people. Right now, this budget will make the living standard of our people worse than JMB made it. So this is not sustainable.
Yeah. So what I want to know also, the allocation set aside for these schools, right? What the money actually used for? For example, let's look at. Let me give you another figure that will shock you. MVTC,
Yes.
the Monrovia Vocational Training Center.
Training center.
Can
Yeah.
you guess how much the budgeted? 4,000. I didn't say 40.
Yeah.
I didn't say 400. 4,000. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4,000.
Yeah.
In the budget.
What is
For
4,000
MVTC.
supposed to do for MVTC?
So talk to me. What would they use that money for in 12 months?
I mean,
What is
operation,
it for?
it can't do anything. 4,000 can't even go for 3 weeks to run MVTC. 4,000, it can't even go for 3 weeks.
Can it at least maintain the bathroom in 12 months? 4,000?
No,
The
4,000
bathroom-
can't do it unless you are going to maintain it haphazardly, but it can't do it. So the administration, the budget tells you, like I said before, where the heart of the government is. So people of Liberia, listen, newsflash. When you look at the budget, what the administration is telling you is that we are not with you. We are here for ourselves. Look at where they apply all the resources are to themselves. The legislature, the executive, those are where the huge chunk of the budget is. It's not there for the people. It's not there for education. It's not there for infrastructural development. It's not there for agriculture, trying to make Liberia food secure. We need food security. So why will you not in your arrest agenda give priority to agriculture? In fact, give priority to your arrest agenda. Give priority to your arrest agenda. Then we know, okay, this is the pillar you came on. Your agriculture, your road, your whatever you have in there, sanitation, all the give priority to that. This budget doesn't give priority to anything in the entire arrest agenda. So that means the people are screwed.
Wow. You know,
That's what it says. The people are screwed. If the people don't rise up like in Kenya, and I'm not saying violently, no. If the people don't rise up and protest this government seriously, things will not change.
My curiosity when I look at the numbers, especially for the schools, and you couldn't have said it right, that if we are not investing significantly in education with the intention of, preparing people who will have the skills and the capacity to run this country and develop it, then what are we doing? And the arrest agenda talk about education. Education is one of the pillars, right? So if you look at the amounts they have allocated, let's look at community colleges in the Southeast, let's say 600,000. I'm still curious. Why schools like the college in Lofa is getting more, in Bon is getting more, right? The one in Nimba is getting more, 1.5 million about that. Why? Is it because those counties have more population and the counties in the Southeast have more population?
No,
hold on. I'm trying to query this because if they are all community colleges, they are on the equal level. Why is it that they are not giving equal amount? I'm just curious. I just want to know, why are they not giving equal amount? So let's agree, for example, River G is less populated, and River G get 1.5 million in the budget for a community college, and maybe the capacity of the college there is smaller compared to the one in Nimba County. What happens is that because it's getting more money, like you alluded to, those are the places you even send more money because they are further from the city to attract more teachers and all that. If you give them more money, what happens is that the quality there will increase. You attract quality teachers. Somebody can even leave from Nimba and say, no, the college in Nimba is overcrowded. I'm going to River G because the population there is less. You have teachers there. I will get more attention. All right. The facility is free. The quality is high. I will get quality education. Are we looking at it this way, or people just sending these figures just because they want to throw out numbers?
The thing is, there's no strategic planning. Okay, this administration lacks strategic planning. We should be able to sit down at a table and strategically look into these things. These community colleges, how do we build them up? How do we buffer these community colleges to make them competitive? So all community colleges are at the same level. They should all receive the same budget. But you can add more in certain regions because of the hassle of living in those regions. So let's assume we say across the board, all community colleges get $1.5 million. Okay, that is a standard. So we standardize the budget of all community colleges. However, River G, River Cess, those kind of places, Lofa, that is difficult to get to, and people will not want to go live there. We'll give them a little more incentive, give them a little more leverage so that they can attract quality instructors, because that's why you're giving them more money, to attract quality instructors, to improve on their facilities, to improve the environment, and that will attract more people. So if the community college has more money and they can provide housing for staff, I wouldn't want to stay in Monrovia where I'm teaching at a community college and I'm paying my own rent. I would prefer to go to River G that is providing me an affordable housing. So I'm not paying rent. but I'm still making the same salary. If they can provide those kind of incentives, they provide electricity, they provide certain things, good sanitized environment, and then they provide programs for say feeder schools. They supporting high school, elementary school where these staff children, because I can't be living River G going to school. My family is in Monrovia. That also creates strain on the family income because now I have to take care of two separate homes. So I want my family to be with me in River G. If my family coming with me in River G, do my children have quality elementary or junior or senior high school to go to? Are there clinics, if my wife is sick, if my children are sick, that they can go to? We don't have to rush them to Monrovia. So that's why you increase the budget of those places that are farther rich, those farther rich counties, where you got those farther rich community colleges. That's why you give them more money, because you want to attract. And that alone is going to boost the economy of those places, because there are other support services. There are people that got to supply certain things to those places. Then you are boosting the economy of those places, and then say, okay, because of these people on that side, let us now fix the road. Let's do all these things there. Again, it all boils down to strategic planning. People have to sit down. These other countries that are developed, people don't just do things from the top of their head. They sit down, they plan. Even the roads that they construct, the cities that they build, they got a model city. You go to the office of my mayor, you see the prototype of a section of the city that we're building is sitting there. So we first go to the table, we map out all those things before we go and do the actual work on the ground. So Liberia will lack strategic planning. So, and then the Baka administration, they just in a hurry to do everything, and they're just not doing anything right. So the budget of community colleges should be standardized, but the colleges that are in more difficult terrain should have more money to be able to attract more quality staff, more quality instructors. And
thank you. Again, I want us to go back to tourism as you were speaking.
Yes.
I did some from research, because look, when Unity Party led our country for 12 years under Manu Sali, I continue to throw the challenge out there for the Unity Party of today to tell us how much money did Liberia raise when it came to tourism for that 12 years. I really want to know, did the Unity Party raise a penny on tourism? I really want to know. But the thing is, tourism, like you said, is a sector that provides or offers a unique opportunity to increase revenue generation. Now we've been hearing whole Liberia want to increase the budget to $1 billion. And the last time I saw the U.S. ambassador to Liberia giving tools to LRA, and that those are computers and other things, and they said that those things will be used to increase revenue generation. I mean, the tool is said like a hole where you're going to go somewhere and go and sell it. No, computer can't dig money out of it. Those are office tools, right? So you have to have programs in place, all right, that will lead to the revenue generation. You got to have investment made to be able to generate the money. And tourism is that one sector. The Unity Party people will tell us. So I did a little research, and here are some numbers. The numbers might be too small for those of you there, so I will read them quickly. You say, here are the top countries projected to raise significant amount from tourism. The top 10 countries by tourism income. Number one, the United States of America, $210 billion, accounting for 1.1% of the country's total GDP. Spain, $67.9 billion, making up 5.2% of its total economy. France, $60.7 billion. We're talking B here, with tourism contributing 2.3% of the country's GDP. Thailand, $57.5 billion. UK, $51.2 billion. Italy, where President Bouaka is going, I know he's leaving today or when he's leaving. Italy, where he's going, $44.2 billion. Australia, 41.7 billion. Germany, 39.8 billion. Japan, 34 billion. And China, 32 billion. I don't want to continue to go, my brother. I don't want to continue to go. Now, can we at least generate 250 billion and 50 million at least? Or 500 billion? Ghana is getting, like you said, Ghana is getting billions of dollars in tourism. Do we have anything in place by the arrest agenda to attract tourists for us to make millions of dollars from tourism? This is a place that can increase revenue generation. Agriculture, they don't have it. When it comes to tourism, do they have it?
Ghana, according to the Ghana in 2022, travel and tourism sector in Ghana contributed 3.4 billion US.
So let me adjustment to your device. Come closer. Yeah,
Oh,
you
sorry.
are. Yeah, you are getting shallow there. All right, thank you. All right, you
Yeah.
look great. Go ahead.
Yeah. So in 2022, Ghana travels and tourism sector contributed 3.4 billion US dollars
Wow.
to the country's gross domestic product. Jamaica, because when we're using America, Spain, and all these places, Liberian feel frightened, like, oh, those are European countries. Jamaica right now is projecting close to $5 billion by 2025 from tourism. And I could give you the number of the visitation into Jamaica and Ghana, how many people come there. Okay, these countries are raking in billions of dollars from tourism. And when we talk about eternal revenue generation, those are things we should be paying attention to. Instead of flying all around the world trying to beg people to come and give us money that we're not even going to spend for the right reasons, we need to generate income. There's so much wastage going on in the country, so much mismanagement going on in the country. So what we need is that robust income generation. Eternal revenue generation. The problem with Liberia is we decided not to move away from the public sector to the private sector. And that's why everybody is running into government. And that's why the national legislature budget will keep going up and going up, because these guys got no other place to go. We should be building a thriving and robust private sector. We have to invest in private sector, and to invest in private sector, there are things that we have to invest in first. Our infrastructure, our security, our food security, and so many, and our health sector. If you want to travel to Liberia now, the best place to look, if you go to the U.S. Embassy website, and they tell you about the Liberian deplorable health sector, you won't want to travel there. They tell you, be careful if you get sick in Liberia. That you don't want to travel there. We're not investing in these things. So when an investor think about coming to Africa, the first thing they look at your health, your security, your other things, okay? Your infrastructure, what is the road network, all these things. When they look at it, they prefer, no, we'd rather go to Ghana. We'd rather go to Kenya. We'd rather go to Ethiopia. We'd rather go to Nigeria. Why would they want to come to Liberia? So companies are bypassing us. Delta stopped their flight there. Other airlines have stopped their flight there because the airport is deplorable. We hadn't let the airport, Air France will come to land, the light will go out. I mean, who wants to risk investment in such a place? So you would think that this administration that said they came to rescue, they will pay attention to these things. Because listen, when it comes to development nationally all around the world, government is not the only driving force behind development. The main key driving force, the real partners, are the private sector. Government's job is to create an enabling environment, safe space, so these people can be able to favorably compete and drive this development agenda. Liberia, everything. Government is the highest employer. Government runs everything. That's why everybody wants to go in government. People who don't even belong in government, they all go in government. People that should be doing security job, they all senator, they all representative, because that's where you make free money. The private sector is not working. It's not functioning. And that's why corruption will keep on being on the increase, because the only place people got to go is government. And so JMB, if he wants to rescue, We got to think about these things.
And folks, if you are just joining us, this is the Hour of Politics here at Focus on Liberia. I'm Anthony here hosting, and I have our Sustainable Development Coach here, Pastor Esti Salif, and we are looking at the topic, the 2024 Rescue Budget and the Arrest Agenda. The Arrest Agenda is the plan of the arrest government that they plan to use, or they are using, to rescue Liberia. So we want to see whether the budget align with the arrest agenda. We want to know whether the first rescue budget aligns with the rescue plan, which is the arrest agenda. That's why we are discussing. And in that particular arrest agenda, tourism is one of a key pillars that they have. So that's why we've been discussing tourism. We read some numbers to you of most European companies or Western countries raising billions. Some might be thinking, whoa, you got too far. What's about Africa? I got some numbers for you for Africa. Let me read them quickly. So here are some African countries that are raising billions in terms of revenue from the tourism sector because they have made the investment in these sectors. Number one, Egypt. Egypt in 2022 raised 12.2 billion in tourism alone. Egypt in 2022 raised 12.2 billion in revenue. Morocco rose 9 billion. Morocco raised 9 billion or generated 9 billion in annual revenue from tourism. South Africa, 4.8 billion. And they said 4.8 billion stay growing after a significant 70% drop in earnings due to COVID-19. But they stayed because of COVID-19, it dropped by 70%, and still they were able to generate 4.8 billion in revenue. Tanzania, 2.5 billion, a 90% rise from the previous years of 257%. My brother, you listening to these numbers?
I'm listening to those numbers.
Yeah. Tanzania, 1.7 billion, recovering from a 57% drop in revenue due to the pandemic. So because of COVID-19, it dropped by 57%. Even with that, they raised 1.7 billion. Mauritius, Mauritius, 1.5 billion, accounting for 18.6% of its total export. Folks, these are African countries generating billions just from the tourism sector. Where are we? Can you ask our government if they have even made a significant investment in tourism? You want to know the budget the rescue government that came to rescue our tourism sector, what they put in the budget? 120,000. I didn't say 120 million. 120,000. That is what in the budget for the tourism sector. But you know what's in the budget for the president? In fact, the president got 2 cars for 1.1 billion. 1.1 billion.
1.2 million.
2 cars. Just 2 cars. 1.1 million. He could spend at least that 1.1 million in the tourism sector, maybe to attract people. Your take, my friend.
Yep, that's exactly where I was going. You just took the word from my mouth. Okay. If you combine, because the last time I was on the show, I did a math, I combined the EPS and the NSA money. That was it came up to the 11.9 and 9 point something. I think it came up to $21.5 million.
Right.
The question is, and I keep asking, what intel did Joseph Boakai and Jeremiah Cohn receive that maybe their lives were in danger, that they needed to fortify themselves with bulletproof cars, with all the extra layer of security? Who's after them when they should be spending that money spending that money on other things? These people are just, they keep to serve themselves. We're not in wartime. Even Ellen, who was the first post-war president, she didn't see the need for bulletproof cars. George Weah didn't see the need for bulletproof cars. Why does JMB think that he needs bulletproof cars to spend millions of dollars on bulletproof cars? For what? When you don't even have the road to drive the car on. So that is a complete misplaced priority. And again, that I'm saying, this administration needs to pull back They need to recalibrate. They need to sit down, go back to the table, go back to the drawing board, and ask themselves, is this what we really came for? Is this what the Liberian people elected us for? Now, as I thought about coming on the show, there are two words that came to mind that we need to think about. And one of the words is prosperity, and the other is posterity. When you're 20 years old, going to 30, 35, yeah, all your inclination is you want to work for prosperity, you want to prosper. But when you are at Joseph Boakai age, you can't be working for prosperity. You should be working for posterity. And that has to do with legacy. JMB should be doing everything to leave a lasting legacy behind. But right now, he's not even thinking about it. He's not investing in the next generation. Sustainable development is all about we acquiring our need and still helping future generations to acquire theirs. JMB is not even thinking about the future. JMB is not even thinking about next year. JMB is only thinking about himself now, his administration now. One of the things they talk about in his arrest agenda, he's not even working on it. Curbing corruption and all these things, we're not even thinking about it, which was the rule of law. Let us not forget about that while we talk about the budget, the numbers. In the arrest agenda is the rule of law. Where is the rule of law in this administration? How much money are we putting in the judicial system to be able to upgrade those circuit courts and those civil law courts and other courts in other places, even in the counties? Somebody posted some picture about one of the courts in one of the counties. It's a mud house with just one little table and people. I mean, we're not even investing into those things, and that's the rule of law. What is the budget for the judicial system? You know, so we can't. The way the administration is running and where they are spending money tells you where the priority are, and you said that in your opening. The budget tells you the priority of the government. So the people are not the priority of the government. Agriculture is not a priority of this administration. The rule of law is not a priority of this administration. Tourism is not a priority of this administration. Sanitation is not a priority of this administration. All the priority of this administration is bulletproof car, increasing national legislature budget, increasing APS, increasing NSA. That's where the priority is. It's not on the people. Let us not shy away from it.
Definitely, we're not going to shy away from it. We'll tell the truth. If the president is spending the legislature, if you look at, they get their cars already.
Yes.
Each of them got a brand new car for $45,000. And I think it costs about $3 million. Or a little over that. That's why it costs. And that is just for 3 years. 3 years from now, they will get additional ones. That's what they do. But they will not even put $3 million in the budget for a single community college. Not a single community college. And talking about bulletproof car, the news that is out there, Focus on Liberia also reported it, but we have not independently confirmed that, is that Amin Moda has resigned. The Minister of Commerce has resigned. He resigned because there was a report that he got money from a business in Liberia called Medtech that made available $96,000, and they added some money on that $96,000, and a $100,000+ car was purchased that he has been using as minister. And people felt that that was complete corruption. How can a business be the one buying car for a government official's use? And that particular business, I think, is at the airport. Falls under Amin Moda's authority. He's a regulator for that particular business, and you are regulating an entity that buying car for you. $96,000 came from that entity for the purchase of this car that Amin Moda have been using. Amin Moda came under serious tension. Even the party chairman had a press conference that he need to clear his knee. He tried to clear his knee. I'm not sure his knee has been cleared. And now we're hearing about resignation of Amin Moda for buying a car was over $100,000. The question I asked is, the president also got a car, 2 cars, bulletproof cars, for $1.1 million. So what's going to happen if Amin Moda is being let go for a $100,000+ car? What's about the 1.1 million cap? What's going to happen?
Yeah, but I wouldn't even say if Amin Moda has been let go. He's voluntarily resigning, right? So it's an honorable thing. Say, okay, the tension is too much. I will step aside. So the question is, will JMB also step aside, for spending millions of dollars on bulletproof cars? And listen, this is 9 months, Mr. C. Let us not forget. If this is how it's going to continue, Joseph Boakai will be the most traveled Liberian president, given the number of trips he has already made in 9 months. If this trend continues, he will be the most traveled Liberian president. What is
in
he
9
going
months, 9 trip? The 10th one is in motion right now as we speak.
Yes.
And talking
Yes.
about the trip, let's look at the trip. If you
And
look
the
at
budget surrounding those trips.
let's do some analysis on the budget surrounding, because the president has been traveling with huge delegation, 60, 50, 40. That's the total number of persons he has been traveling with. Going to the United States, going to China, going to Asia. I mean, Asia, China is also part, he went to Singapore, he went to China. And the delegations have been
he went to Canada.
Let's look at 60 people. On one of the trips, I think the more recent one, that when they came to the United States, he had to pass through Canada to come to America, and then, then he attended 60 people. Now, the daily subsistence allowance for each person, just for them to eat, their hotel, their plane ticket. You are giving the Morovia Vocational Training Center $4,000 for the whole year. I guarantee you, some of those people who came on this trip, some of their ticket cost about $4,000 just to go and camp. $4,000 for one person. Hotel, feeding, transportation. While they are in the US, they have to pay transportation.
And then
someone was telling me, some of these people, even when they come, there are some of them that have homes here. Those of them who live here before, when they come, they don't lodge in the hotel. They lodge at their homes, or they stay with their friends. But they collect this DSL, they collect this money for hotel and so on and so forth. Some of their friends can even be giving them ride in this place. They're taking even Uber, right? So is that money well spent? Is that how you rescue the country and its people?
But in business, we say you spend money to get money, right? Mm-hmm. So let's assume they're spending that money, but then they're bringing in the millions and the billions. We say, okay, we understand they had to spend this money to get this. But at the end of the day, what are they bringing? The trip he went to Canada, it was a messed up program. Sorry to use the word, because I got people in Canada. I wanted to go for the investment forum in Canada. Something just told me, no, maybe wait. And it was a single individual that hosted him. No protocol, nothing was even done. He traveled through the Canadian airport just like any ordinary person. Nothing came out of that investment forum. So that money was wasted. It was a complete waste. Nothing came out of it. The other investment forum he went for in Georgia, what came out of it? Nothing. Most of the other meetings he go for, travel group meetings and all these things. What is he getting? What are we getting out of it? What's the benefit? What's the dividend that those trips yield to Liberia? Zero. So that means there's no need traveling. You can teleconference some of those meetings. You can stay there. They will put you, they will video screen you. So why are you wasting all that money, taking all these people with you, and you're not the only trip that he has made that maybe some news might have come out of was the one to China, and we're talking about grant. We're still waiting to see the MOU they sign, what become of it. So you make all these trips, you're spending all this money on jet travels, on hotels, on all these things. What is it bringing back home? So that's a problem. And this is only 9 months. You already made 9 trips. I mean, every month you're traveling. So the president lives out of Liberia more than he lives in Liberia. Every month he's traveling. 9 months, 9 trips.
Yeah, the president so far has spent about 54 days outside of the country. That is minus the trip to Italy that is in motion right now. He spent 54 days outside of Liberia in 9 months. I mean, imagine if the president was just, because to maintain a president is expensive, especially when the president is out of the country. Yeah. So let's say, if you look at the man's security detail, if you look at the man's sleeping place, if you talk about the man food to eat alone, all right, and maybe you have to entertain other people and all that, right? If you put that together, that average it around maybe 10,000 US dollar a day. If you multiply that by the 54 days, you're talking huge money here. That is even far less than what
It's
they are
more
giving
than
to
half a million
MVTC.
dollars. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a misplaced priority. So JMB, the question is, did he really come to rescue or did he come to serve himself? That's the question we should be asking.
And earlier you were talking about the rule of law that is in the arrest agenda, right?
Yes.
So it's A for agriculture, is the arrow
Arrow
for
for rule.
rules, and then the other arrow for rule of law.
Yeah.
Now, there's so much we heard about, and the president has been given so much credit for appointing somebody to the office of the ombudsman, right? But here we are. The office of the ombudsman, the budget is $100,000. My question is, what is this money going to be used for? Is it for the ombudsman pay or for his operation? What is it actually for? What can this man do with this money in 12? I mean, in 12 months to actually fight? And this man is sitting there. There are people who have not declared their asset, no penalty against the individual. Why are we paying this money? Is there even enough to run that office?
It's not. It's not. The money is nothing to run the ombudsman office. It's nothing. I mean, just to set up the office alone, because if you created such an office, just to set it up alone, it's not enough. What will be the operational expenses? So again, we talk about what I keep saying is misplaced priority. This administration is operating in a misplaced priority. They don't know what they are doing, and they're not serving the Liberian people. One thing for sure, they are not serving, because the budget does not serve the Liberian people. This budget serves JMB and his cohorts. This budget serves the national legislature, because that's where the whole the budget rests. The national legislature and the executive, that's where the whole budget rests. It doesn't filter down to the rest of the country, to education, to agriculture, to the sanitation he talked about. It's not. I saw how much he had there for Monrovia City Hall and
Painesville. Yeah, let me read the numbers before you continue. Let's look at the Monrovia City Corporation allotment. The budget code is 318. Monrovia City Corporation budget was initially 5.2 million. That's why they budgeted in the original budget. And then the number in the parenthesis is the court, the Scottish austerity measure. So they cut 1 million from there. So now Monrovia City Corporation budget is about $4 million. That's what they have for Monrovia City Corporation. Then you have the Painesville City Corporation. All right, the budget code is 325, and initially they have $1.7 million. All right, for the Monrovia City, the Painesville City Corporation. Yeah, then they cut 435,000 from it. Now it's dropped to 1.3 million for Monrovia City Corporation. In the arrest agenda, sanitation is a big deal. They said they were going to use sanitation as a way of even creating short-term employment for mainly the youth of Liberia, because the unemployment rate is unbelievable. I was listening to a gentleman who said when Charles Taylor came in, he created something. He called the name of it. And what it did was, most of those ex-combatants, they almost like created some kind of short-term employment for them. They were going around cleaning the city and so on and so forth. That was a source of employment for them. So it kept them under control. And you're looking at sanitation is key. Not only that you have to clean the city, but it could be another means of creating job for people, short-term employment. And why cut the budget? You look at the trash all around Monrovia. The Painesville, the last time was focused on that, bro. We put a stockpile of trash in the Painesville area. And the last time I saw I think Deputy Minister for Urban Development, or Assistant Minister Manja Bate, he's joining the Painesville City Corporation, and all they do is just cleaning trash, and the trash is all over the place. If you look at this allotment for the two city corporation that should be cleaning the city, maintaining city ordinances, and also the beautification of the city, that figure, does it align with the sanitation thing they have in the arrest agenda?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't align with it. And I hate this photo up thing that they do. Oh, where minister go there, take broom, and that's sustainable. we should be able to develop a system. We should be able to develop a waste management system from which government can also generate revenue. You live here, my brother. You know how the waste management system works, and you pay. I pay it, okay, in my home where I'm at, okay. I pay for those things. So you have to develop a system. And it's not by taking broom and going out in the city and just cleaning things. We have to be able to put in those measures in place, those regulations in place. You go to other places. I don't know. I was talking with somebody, which African country they went to, and the person did something and threw the trash on the floor. Another citizen told you better pick that up. You will get arrested. You will go to prison for that. You pick it up. Okay. So we don't have any system in place to control waste, to control and manage waste. So going out on Saturday and sweeping is not going to do it. All the roads that got field drainage, though they are all black because the drainage have become the trash can. That's where people dump all the dirt. So we have to do a better job. We have to do a better job. And when it comes to sanitation, I think one of the things that is an eyesore in Liberia too, the youth, and they call them Zogos. Okay, what programs do we have to invest in them? Drug is killing these young people. And JMB, when he came, he did that photo up where he did drug testing. Okay, and I was asking people, it doesn't end there. That you show your arm and they tested you for drug. Is that it? That's all you gotta do? No, we have to be able to control the infiltration of drug into the country. We have to have programs, those that already are users, active users, to be able to rehabilitate them and try to curtail the uses of drugs in the country. Because if we don't have programs, because I was looking at the other budget for youth and sport, and I was like, what programs does youth and sport does to have that amount of money? Look at the money they give to youth and sport. Since I was born in Liberia, grew in Liberia, what programs does the youth and sport and does to have that kind of money that we're not even putting into education?
Yeah, what I know is the Ministry of Youth and Sport, they have a lot of vocational training schools around the country that fall under the Ministry of Youth and Sport, where they are doing skill training programs.
Skills acquisition.
Yeah. They're doing skill training program. They have a few of them around that. My friend is the Deputy Minister for Youth and Sport, Larama Yanton, so I know that. And my younger brother also served at that very position during the CDC time as a DO. And I also did my own research, and I had an interview with him and another Deputy Minister, Peter Beeman. So I know that under the Ministry of Youth and Sport, there are vocational institutions in Liberia that fall under them, where they are carrying on skills training program, and they put money there. Even donor partner contribute to that. So that's what they have. And talking about that, they have 7 million budgeted in the original budget. In the recast, they subtracted,
cut it down to
1.9. Yeah, 1.9 million, and they brought it to 5.4. So this is a critical sector. We're talking about the Zogos that you mentioned earlier. Those schools should be used. They should be taken over there to go through rehabilitation and get some skills. Maybe that's that, right? And stay on that. The president went further after taking the drug test. He declared the drug crisis in Liberia as a national emergency.
That's where I'm coming.
They created a program for that. Initially in the budget, they had, I think, 1.9 million budgeted to fight drugs and rehabilitate those young people. But when they recast the budget, you know what they did? They cut it down, and they brought it to 400,000.
And you call that national emergency? It's supposed to be.
This is national emergency, but 435,000 is what he set aside. Initially, he said 1.9. He said, "Well, that's too much. Those guys are not important." They call it down, right? So I really don't know. Their priorities are completely upside down. You are saying, yeah, our priority, education, you cut your education budget. Tourism, zero for tourism whatsoever. I mean, MVTC, $4,000 coming, man. Are you serious?
MVTC need to move on our youth and sports so they can enjoy some of that money.
Exactly.
$4,000?
Yeah. The last figure I want to bring in for you to talk about, we're talking about our only international airport. The budget quote is 429. All right. The Liberia Airport Authority. Initially, the budget is 6.8 million. The figure in the bracket, that's the court. They cut 4.3. So what we have there for Liberia Airport Authority is 2.6 million. How you cut 4 million? And you know RIA is a critical sector. You know we have an issue at the port. The issue of electricity is a problem. All right. The wrong way is a problem. Everything there is a problem. For you to maintain this pitiful 6.8 million to increase the capacity and the facility over there, to give airline the assurance that when they fly to Liberia, their aircraft will be secure, so that even people who want to fly to Liberia will feel that Liberia is safe, the airport is safe for them to fly and come and spend money, which is also tied into tourism. You're spending $2.6 million. I mean, how are you going to improve services over there for people to feel secure to travel? The road from RIA is a death trap as we speak. So if you look at their priorities, the priorities I see as evident by this budget that the president, which is the executive branch of government, and the legislature, they are the only branches of government that got increases in the budget. Even if you look at their salary, all right, they are getting increase. They didn't increase anything for teachers. They didn't increase anything for nurses. They didn't increase anything for police. Nothing whatsoever. The president, after getting his bulletproof car, he increased the budget. Travel budget also increased. The same thing with the legislature. So when you say you come rescue the people, your budget should tell us that you have come to rescue the people. But it is clear now, if you look at the budget up and down, the budget is there to rescue government officials and not the people they claim to have come to rescue. Your take.
Yeah, thank you. So before I get to the RIA thing, let's look at Liberia this way. It's like maybe a family that's in need of help, they were struggling, so much going on, and you came there and say, okay, you're taking over the family, you're in charge now. You want to make sure the children are well fed, they go to the best of schools, and they do this. You are going to cut down so many things that are contributing to all that suffering and all the degeneration. JMB and his administration, instead of cutting down on the things that are wasting the resources, they're increasing all of that. And what will benefit the ordinary people, that's what they're cutting down on. They're not cutting down on anything of theirs. They are augmenting everything that has to do with them. Whatever has to do with the people, the direct support services to the people, those are the things they're cutting down. Now, when it comes to RIA is the gateway to Liberia. Any serious person coming to Liberia, that's the first place they come through because they come through the air. So it's the gateway, and that place should be a model for Liberia. That is the first interaction with any foreigner with Liberia, and that place should be operating at its optimum. Everything there should be classic. Everything there should be cordial. Everything there should be a touch of excellence. But I just saw a recent video from RIA last week. The terminal was flooded. Did you see that?
Yes, I saw that.
It was flooded. Now, what we should be thinking of doing to attract other airlines and create more jobs, we should be adding another runways. We should be expanding the airport. But instead of expanding the airport, we are cutting down the budget. The 1.something million. I mean, it can't even operate that budget. It can't operate the airport. The airport is not up to standard. That thing that Ellen built was just done in a hurry. It's not up to standard. Things are already falling apart when you go through the airport. I travel through the airport. There's no system in place. We need complete staff training at that airport. If you fly into Kotoka Airport, Accra, you feel so better. Everything is arranged. You get to RIA, it's like you're in the market. One person shouting, come. The other person shouting, go. The other person, oh, leader man, oh, boss man. No system at the whole place. You need staff training. You need equipment. You need better radar system. You need better lighting. You need better asphalt on the tarmac. You need everything got to be improved at that place. You need better parking system. And instead of adding money to improve that place, you are subtracting money. And that's the very reason other airlines stop coming. And your citizens are suffering. You know what it means to fly to Liberia now? Flying to Liberia is so expensive. You don't pay the same amount to fly to Ghana. You don't pay the same amount to fly to Nigeria or to Ivory Coast, all those countries around us. No airline wants to come to Liberia. So the few airlines there, the Royal Air Maroc and other few that come, they're charging so much. That's why it's now you're talking about the new program they're working on now is something about Liberia diaspora. They want December, from December 1st to December 31st. They want Liberians in the diaspora to come. They want to run an all month long event, bringing people back home. Who wants to go home when I have to pay how many thousands of dollars just for a ticket? Because now, if you have that crowd going to Liberia December, the price is going to be jacked up. People will be paying close to $4,000 or $5,000 for a ticket because you don't have many airlines coming to the country because the airport is poorly structured and poorly run. Instead of work on that, why are you talking about your diaspora homecoming stuff that you want to pattern after Ghana a year of the return? Then you should start working on the airport, put more money into the airport so that we can upgrade the airport to make it international standard. But no, you choose to cut money from there, to add the money you took from there, $4 million, to buy your bulletproof cars. Which serious president does that? RIA is the first point of call. That is the first point. First impression matters. So when people go, when they hear Liberia, the first place they get to is RIA. That place should be, it should be top notch.
Well, folks, we will come to the end of this broadcast. We hope we were able to help you read some of the numbers. And we also thought to see how those numbers align with the arrest agenda and whether, because the government priorities are clear here: education, roads, rule of law, education, sanitation, tourism. All of these things, budget being cut, and we see increases at the executive and the legislature. So, and what I want you to conclude with, for us to close with here, is what is the President Bouaka even read this budget? Because I don't think Bouaka will read a budget that gives a pitiful 4,000 to Montreal Vocational Training Center. If there's any school Bouaka remembers in Liberia, maybe it will be that one. I don't think, because he went to, I think, CWA, so that one he would know. But besides that, it should be the Montreal Vocational Training Center, right? MVTC. Did President Bouaka read this budget? For which year? 4,000 for that. And the other thing is, what did President Bouaka set a threshold for the budget when it comes to recurring expenses? And then what we call capital investment in the country, that he set a threshold? Because if I'm a president, I want to see that, well, at least 40% of the budget should go to maybe recurring expenses, and the 60% should be used for capital investments also. You need to set that threshold. That way you can be able to be very, very, very serious about your austerity measures. Because what you look at the budget is 100%. You look at the needs of the country. You say, well, as a president, I'm going 50-50 this year. 50% of the budget must be used to invest in the people of this country. And what is left, we will manage that and we will run the government. Did President Bouaka have a clue? Because this is the worst budget I've ever seen since I've been reading Liberian budget. Why I say so? Because over 95% of the budget is diverted to recurring expenses, just to run government, pay salaries, and buy cars for them, their travel and everything. While a pitiful less than 4% is set aside to improve the human and material condition of our people. That is the reason why you see a 4,000 for MVTC. That is why you are even seeing 120,000 for tourism, When African countries are raising billions in tourism, Liberia is raising zero. How do we increase this budget to $1 billion that all of them have been saying? What is the plan to do that through agriculture? What is the plan to do that through tourism when the budget of agriculture has been cut from a pitiful 5 million to 3 million? How do you increase the budget? Agriculture is one opportunity. Tourism is one opportunity, but you put peanuts there and you increase security and you increase legislatures. We will just use the money to give our people peanuts to maintain power. That's my closing. You close us today.
Thank you. I will close, but let me respond to this person. Somebody's writing in the text and said, Theodore saying, I disagree that the more people traveling to a destination increases the fare. I think the opposite is true. The more travelers decrease the fare according to the laws of supply and demand. That means you don't understand air travel. What airlines do, they black both of those seats. That's how they increase the fare. When more people are traveling, they black out the seats and tell you, and then the seat is not available, and then the online vendors and other people, they black those places, and you end up paying more. If you don't believe it, okay. Why is travel more expensive in the summer? Because that's when people travel more. So getting airline tickets, the fare increases in the summer. When people travel less, that's when the fare comes down. So I don't think you completely understand how air travel works. That's why go back and look. When is ticket fare expensive? Is it not in the summer? That's how it works. So you got few airlines going there. So that's why they would use the opportunity to jack up the price. So yes, I stand by that statement. But let me summarize this way. When I look at the budget, what that tells me is, the specific question you asked, do you think Bwaka even read this budget? That I don't know whether he read it or he didn't read it, but this is what I can definitively say. Whether JMB read the budget or he didn't read it, what I come up with two conclusions from this budget. Number one, that JMB is not in charge. He's not in charge of the administration. He has no clue. He doesn't know what he's doing. Other people are pushing things behind him and he doesn't care. Number one, JMB is not in charge. Number two, JMB doesn't care. This man doesn't care at all. And number three, he has no vision. He has no vision to do anything because people risked their lives. People were in the trenches because they were tired the way the CDC administration was running the country. And they decided, okay, let's bring on this elder statesman who can take us from where we are to a better place. And I used to follow him. I saw him on those Nigerian broadcasting network taking questions and answering questions and complaining how we is badly running the country, how the price of bag of rice is increasing, fuel, and all this, that a country cannot move in that direction. I still watch those broadcasts that he did with those Nigerian journalists on those Nigerian TVs. All right, so you come now, you can't do it. It does mean those three things. JB is not in charge. It's Grace Pay and other people that are running this government. Joe Bwaka Jr., Grace Pay, and other people, they run this thing. JMB is not in charge. And when we were on the show the other time, Gayman read one paragraph or one sentence from one of the sentences he read from the book, is that those who knew JMB from high school, that he just don't care. He doesn't take decision. So all the corruption going on, he doesn't speak anything about it. Amin Moda is honorable enough to resign on his own. There was no pressure. There's no record that he ever spoke with Amin on this issue or did anything. You know, when the young people, how they call the economic freedom fighter, they suggested the people that he should fire from his administration. He never addressed those concerns because he doesn't care. JMB doesn't care. We can go on and talk. The man doesn't care. And then number three, he has no vision. He can't do this job. And if I, in my own self, think about this country, I think it's hard time, and I won't be afraid to say it. JMB should be impeached. He can't do this job. This man can't do this job. He should be impeached so that we have we restructure this administration, or else this rescue train that we're on is headed into disaster. It's not heading anywhere. The people are going to suffer more based on what we have seen in the first 9 months. I don't have any hope for the last 5 years.
If JMB is impeached, and are we even going to be better on a Coon?
Oh no, the reason JMB is impeached, then that will set a tune that when his vice president takes over, if your boss was impeached, that means you yourself will not escape it. So that will put him on the track to say, you know what, I don't want to go down like my boss. So these people mean business. Let me do something better. If he doesn't do it, the same people that impeach JMB will have to impeach him too. So that will serve as a deterrent. It will serve as a wake-up call that, hey, something is going on. And again, like I say, I don't want any violence in Liberia, but the people have the right to protest just like the youth did in Kenya. You know, the Kenyan government, they have set themselves to do XYZ. When they saw the movement of the youth, they rescinded on all those things. They had to go back to the drawing board and do some things until the young people can have a sit-in and shut down the country, non-violent. These people will not take, because they're not even listening. The legislature, next year, the next budget, they will add more. And that's when the tempering came. Because the first budget that was submitted, they looked at it. After the part, they're like, oh no, we have to increase here. Let's remove this. They went back, they tempered with it. Now they came back with the recast. And the recast budget show you exactly who are the people that temper with the budget. And yet there's no accountability. So we can't let this happen. We can't allow this to continue. The administration is heading in the wrong direction. This is 2024. Liberia should not be on this trajectory. We deserve better. The Liberian people deserve better. And I'm speaking directly to that woman who's struggling with her children. You can't go to school. I know you've been receiving the call, Mr. Sia. I've been receiving calls, people asking for school fees. Joseph Boakai is, the budget doesn't help you. That man who you don't even have a job. You can't even take care of your family. This budget doesn't support you. To those families that are struggling, children that, crying, they need better help. To that person that is sick and can't get the medical attention, when JMB will jump in flight, go to Ghana. How can the Liberian president be going to Ghana for medical treatment? Why can't we build our own medical infrastructure to make it a world renowned? Why can't we do that? JMB, if it doesn't go to Ghana, it coming to the U.S. All those legislature who increase their own money in the legislature, in the budget, when they sick, their family, they fly them out of the country. Who suffer? The Liberian people. So you better take note. If you keep deceiving yourself that this administration is for you and they're rescuing you, you're living in a utopia.
Thank you. And thank you to our audience for following us. And those who will watch later, please don't always hesitate to share the broadcast. The two administrations we have over the last 20 years now, Unity Party and CDC, I don't want to waste my time on these people. They are nothing but waste of time. They're not going to take us anywhere. They have no vision. They don't mean well for this country called Liberia. I mean, Unity Party is back. You think they will make it better? It's even worse. They are even performing, worse than CDC in so many areas. Anyway, we got to leave it there. Folks, we close with our song that says, we are all Liberians. Until we catch you again, enjoy that song and bye-bye.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home.